or the sisters here, then we'll try our best to answer them. Bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Shari al-Fadl.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa iyyakum.
How does a person get blessings in his business?
How to get barakah?
Okay.
Like being honest, being transparent, being upfront, not hiding or stealing or cheating people, avoiding greed, giving more than what's needed and necessary, being generous with regards to credit, things like this, right? These are ways of you getting barakah in your business. And all of these things you have to ask Allah for. With dua, consistency, being on time, remaining open, early and late. That's a fact. If people know that your store is open, they'll go to your store. Not because you have the best prices or the best product, but just because what? That's a fact. Earlier than the other stores, later what? That's a fact. And also just being mindful of sacrifice. Lower prices, faster moving products. Versus I gotta get all of my capital back, I gotta make a chunk of profit off of every sale. A long time. So there are certain aspects of barakah in business that are spiritual, first and foremost. And there are other elements which are totally tangible, physical, hard work, consistency. Right? Well,
So, in regards to how you act with your wife, how do you effectuate and influence like forward movement without breaking the rib?
I mean, if you have an issue, like
Or like just getting better in general.
with her or with you, with what? With her?
Her, yeah.
It's like, well, first and foremost is honesty is the best policy. Honesty is the best policy. If you can be upfront and straight up with your wife, that's better than hiding it from her. Or trying to, appease her feelings, if the food is trash and it's what? It's trash. That's stuff for the law, I'm not finding fault in the food. But I'm finding fault in what? You're cooking, right? So sometimes you just gotta be upfront and be honest. It may hurt in the beginning, but that's better than her continue what? With the same mistake afterwards, okay? Or something, all jokes aside, not joking, something that displeases you, you tell her. And we said this before, that the husband and wife, they should be friends. It should be a friendship. And what type of friendship is there if you can't be honest and upfront with your friend? That's easier said than done, but I mean, you can't even have a real one-to-one, heart-to-heart with your friend. That person's not a true friend. If you can't just be brutally honest. I love you, but nah. Why can that, right? And also, patience. Everything isn't going to change overnight all at once. Just like you don't change, you don't fix all your problems overnight all at once, right? Avoid arguing. It's always easier to show and to lead by actions than it is to win an argument. And the instant satisfaction that you get from winning an argument, it feels good, right? I just beat you in an argument, right? It's the ego of the human being, right? Feels good temporarily, but the long-term damage is what? Isn't worth it. So try your best to avoid arguing. If you got something to prove, do it. Show her, and maybe she'll get the point. And even if you have to say something, it's easier to use 20% words, 80% demonstration, than 100% words, no demonstration. Wallahu a'lam. Tfaddal Abiyana.
What are some good questions that you can ask in the marriage meeting to make sure?
Can you cook spaghetti? Did you hear the class, Yaki?
I was getting to that.
How good is your spaghetti? No, go ahead, Fadl.
What are some questions you can ask to make sure you don't get the type of sister that tells you to pick
the plate up on the wall? Oh man, you must be a chauvinist pig. You're a red pillar. I can't help you, Yaki. We are with the women. We do not stand with the red pillars. May Allah guide you. Why wouldn't you want the woman to tell you to go pick the plate up? You want a weak woman? You want a slave or a wife?
A bit of both.
Allahu Akbar. He said a bit of both. Allahu Akbar. Allah is the greatest. I don't know him. What's important is, all jokes aside, when you're trying to get to know a sister, you want to do two things. Number one, you want to get as much real, authentic information about who she is. And number two, you want to present as much real and authentic information about who or what you are. And inshallah, those two things should meet in midfield. What are you? This is what I am. Not even saying what I want, what I need, what I'm looking for. You get that? But sometimes it's easier by just those two things. Everybody understand this or not? Period. Right? So that's food for thought. And I'm sure through conversation, paying attention to little small things, you'll see whether she'll run over and cry, pick up the plate, scrub the walls, or whether she'll tell you to get the heck out of here. I know ain't nothing wrong with my cooking. What's important is your personality is going to be clear. How strong you are, how dominant you are, how gentle you are. You know, how good of a provider you are. And that is the whole argument of the alpha male. If you're a real true alpha male, you don't always have to what? Say it and you know, you just do your thing. It's known, right? Who's in charge? Who's the boss? Who's the king? It's known. Who's paying? It's known who's, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to, I'm in charge, I'm the man. You get the point I'm trying to make? And eventually, according to what you're saying, if you want a wife that's submissive and obedient, you know, that's going to, you know, fall in her place as your woman, then if it's clear from your end, then it should, what? It should work. But if you're not presenting it and defining it, if you're not making it clear, that's a different story. So make it clear what you will and what you won't tolerate. Right? Wallahu a'lam. And majadakallah. Ameen.
If Jenna is a place of perfection, then how could tempt her husband to disobey in a perfect place?
Understood. If Jenna is a place of perfection, then how could Hawa tempt her husband in that perfect place? Right. So first and foremost is, to simplify things, is a long discussion on where was Adam, where was Hawa, where were they? Right? You with me, Amjad? Where were they? Were they in actual Jannah? Was it another Jannah? Etc. That's first and foremost, right? And obviously those who say that Jannah is a perfect place, there's no disobedience, then, but obviously he had destroyed Iblis. He disobeyed Allah. He didn't listen. Perfect place, right? Also the concept of once the imperfection was done or made, then they were immediately. Thirdly, one could say, and one can conclude, is that the Jannah in which there's no sadness, no harm, no this, no that, no depression, is what's made for the eternal afterlife. Understand? Wallahu ta'ala, that's in brief. Further, Akhi.
Is it okay to cut ties with a family member that's not practicing?
Cutting ties with a family member that is not practicing. No, you should not do that. Give them advice. Be gentle. Don't be hypercritical, judgmental. Be there for them. Right? Every time you see them, you don't have to talk about the deen, which is the best thing to talk about. The only thing to talk about for real, but we're talking about the reality of people. Let alone the fact that, for argument's sake, if you guys can't agree on the deen they don't want to practice, then be there for them as a family member. You know? And that's the sad reality of many of our family members, even those who are Muslim. You can't talk about the deen. Or if you have a non-Muslim family member, you're not here to talk about Christ or Muhammad or this and that. I'm picking you up to eat, I'm dropping you off, I'm doing this, I'm your family member. Professional. But if someone who is far from the deen or not practicing, give them nasiha. Be gentle. Be patient with them. Try to lead by example. And don't cut them off. Don't cause them to despair from Allah's mercy. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Further, Javon.
As far as when it's mandatory to make ghusl, so do you have to do ghusl if you pre-ejaculate or once you...
Understood. Ghusl is mandatory if a person ejaculates, with or without sexual intercourse. And ghusl is mandatory without ejaculation if there is sexual intercourse, especially unprotected sexual intercourse. So for argument's sake, a man went to his wife and he got a phone call. It was an emergency. He had to leave the house. It was 30 seconds, literally. He is now junub. You got it?
Yeah, I got you.
Alhamdulillah. Shake time. Yeah.
Sheikh,
Can you follow a janaza by not physically being there?
Can you follow a janaza by not physically being there, like virtually?
No.
Perhaps you'll get some reward. If someone FaceTimes you and you were there with them, perhaps. But of course, it's not the same as you.
Physically.
Wallahu a'lam. Wa iyyakum. From online.
AJ, Cincinnati, Ohio. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. What do you think of the name Lost Gems for a YouTube series translating Fatawa of some of the ulama? Inspiration from FMF, of course. Jazakallah khair.
Iyyakum. Lost gems. It's nice. MashaAllah. May it be blessed. Ameen.
MA, Bronx, New York. Is shaving a baby's head obligated in Islam? Newborn baby.
The baby's head should be shaved or shaven, especially if it's a baby boy. Regardless of some people that may have a problem with it, or don't shave my baby's head, or whatever the case may be, etc., etc. The sunnah is above and beyond everyone. Wallahu a'lam.
E.G. Harlem, New York. What are all the things that's a must wajib for a man when his child is born?
When a child is born,
Yeah.
he should be thankful to Allah. First and foremost, make shukr to Allah. Obviously, the child should have a good name, a solid name. Whether that is an Arabic or Arabian name or not. If you name your son or someone from West Africa or whatever, no problem. But the name should be what? Solid and meaningful. Right? And some names are better than others. Head should be shaven. 2 animals should be offered, and if not, then at least 1. That's lawful as well. Huh? The man should be happy when the child is born, girl or boy. And it is upon him to avoid having and showing sadness if he gets a girl baby. That's from Jahiliyyah. Just being down and out and being blue and sad that it's a girl instead of a boy. Allah Ta'ala.
MB from Marietta, Georgia. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Can you please advise on how to stay motivated and consistent when memorizing the book of Allah? Jazakumullahu khairan.
Being consistent is keeping your eyes on the prize. That's what we say. Keep your eyes on the prize. Think about the rewards, the virtues. Think about how much, inshallah, Allah will love you and be pleased with you for memorizing His book, teaching His book, reciting His book, spreading His book. Think how close you'll be to Allah. Keep your eyes on the prize.
ZA, Ottawa, Ontario. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. What is the ruling on inviting the community for dua after a khatam during salah? I.e. the imam finishes the Quran during the fard salah and does qunut.
Inviting the people to a dua, the best guidance is the guidance of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If the Prophet did that, alhamdulillah, congratulations. If the Prophet alayhi salatu didn't do it or say it or encourage it or allow it, don't do it. Father,
Inshallah, the blessed month of Ramadan is coming up. When a person is fasting, should he also be limited from his social media use and watching his pastime TV shows after he breaks the fast or continually?
well, you should try to spend as much as you can, time-wise, reading the Quran, sitting in the masjid, making dhikr, much more than what you normally do. You should limit yourself from any unnecessary distraction during that month. But it doesn't mean that you can't be on social media at all, because there are many good things with social media. We don't believe that social media is absolutely haram and satanic, all of it. That's not true. There's a lot of good that comes from social media. Khair, kathir. A lot of good that comes from the internet. Of course, there's a lot of evil as well. So we don't go extreme on any of the two sides. But in general, even for that which is halal and positive, you limit yourself. But at the same time, if you're giving dawah on social media, if you're calling people to Allah, if you're reminding people of the Quran, then that's something that you want to what? Keep doing. So it depends on the nature. But in general, to answer your question, I would say, pump the brakes a little bit. Why not? For sure.
Because there are people that post every day saying Ramadan day one, fast is good, and continuously does.
That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, fast, but be mindful of your intentions. And be mindful of, just be mindful. That's all, just be mindful. I posted earlier, I released this, but not every day, all day. Right? Wallahu a'lam. Nah, Matthew.
Is the book coming out soon?
What's that?
The Ramadan and fasting.
Volume 2?
Volume
Very soon, yes. Midnight time.
2. What's the best format to get it? Amazon or?
Trunk units. Next question. Okay then. Don't start nothing, it won't what?
Be that.
Won't be nothing. Nah, further that.
The TikTok works totally different from YouTube, right? You just scroll and you come across a lot of evil things. And some people, they post Islamic stuff on TikTok. So is this good to do? Because some people, they say, I'm on TikTok for the Islamic content, but they also come across the haram.
That's an age-old question. Should I prick my fingers to get a rose petal? Is it worth it? Rose smells good, looks good, feels good, but the thorns are sharp. I want to be scratched up and bleeding. You have to make that what? That decision. How is the rose petal worth that much? What feels better? What lasts longer? The joy of the fresh aroma of the rose, or the thorns? Wallahu a'lam. Khayr inshallah. Fadal.
Lee A. Ottawa, Ontario. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. What is the ruling? A.Y. Seattle, Washington. How do we answer questions on pertaining to how Allah does things and His howness?
And his
Howness, like how?
howness. There's not but so much howness you're going to have when it pertains to Allah. Your brain, your mind, your heart is limited. Extremely. There's so many worldly things you can't understand and comprehend in the dunya. Let alone among other people. What the scientist understands isn't like that which a non-scientist understands. To him it's clockwork, the mechanic. But to me, I'm like, alternator, what do you mean? So no, you got such and such, right? So there are things in which I'm involved with or use, I do every day, but I don't what? Comprehend. That's in the dunya. So there isn't but so much that you're going to understand and comprehend. The general things, what Allah tells us about, general understanding of them, no doubt about that. Allah sent down the Quran for the Quran to be reflected upon. And this also refutes those who say, I'm not going to say this or that pertaining to Allah's attributes. Allahu A'lam, what it means. I believe in it. It's even worse. Because you're just telling us now that a large portion of the Quran is just of nothing. No, not false, just no reflection. We have no understanding, cognizance of this meaning, period. Allahu A'lam. That's all. We do. Thumma istawa ala al-arsh, Allahu A'lam. That's it, nothing. That's a problem, right? But the exact manner, the specifics, mathematically calculated in your human being brain, that's a different story. Wallahu a'lam.
M.A. Bandung, Indonesia. How many ayahs should we be memorizing each day?
How many ayats should you memorize each day? Push yourself to the limit. Do what you can, consistently. When أحب الصلاة إلى الله أو كان أحب الصلاة إلى النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ما دوم عليه أحب العمل الله. Many ahadith with regards to the most beloved deeds are those that are done the most consistently. Wallahu a'lam.
AK, UK, London. As advice for someone who gets a lot of doubts regarding knowledge, that they get waswas about the knowledge they hear, even in regards to taking notes and doubting what the teacher said.
You have to fight the waswas, turn away from it, don't listen to it. It's false, it's fake, it does not exist. Khair inshallah. Fadal akhi.
In Ramadan, if you're fasting and you're traveling to like a different country and you're going to a couple of time zones, so how do you make a fast? Or how do you know how many minutes? Say you leave from here and you travel to like 3 different time zones. When you get there, you're already fasting for the next day.
Understood. Well, if you travel from one place to another with regards to the Eid, then that's a different story. So for example, you get to a place and they're making the Eid, but it's not the Eid where you came from. You celebrate Eid with them and then you make up the day afterwards. I'm with you. It's all going to line up, trust me, all right? That's going to show you the concept of you're going to consider yourself wherever you are. That's why I mentioned that first. And the same applies to their fasting, you're not, or vice versa. It's going to be based off where you are. And the day is not going to be longer, of course, than 5 salah, period. Give or take. Your travel, time zones, 24, etc. What's important is sun up, sunset. It's dark, light. Whether I lost time or whether I gained time, you're going to base your iftar and your suhoor off of that. You clear on that? You with me? What you not? What you unclear on?
Like say for example, I'm fasting from here, right? I get on the plane. When I get there, they're already fasting for the next day.
Understood. You're going to go. You're going to stick with their time schedule. If your day is shortened because of the flight, then it's shortened. Clear?
Fasting with the intentions on travel.
Fasting while you travel is optional. It's optional. We expect that for the Hadith, volume 1, fasting in Ramadan, it's optional. Some scholars say it's best. And some say it's best to break the fast. It's going to depend on the person. Understand? Both sides have strong arguments on what's best. To fast while you travel or to break the fast. We know that it's permissible, but what's most virtuous? Wallahu a'lam. Khair inshallah. We'll stop here tonight. Alhamdulillah. Sallallahu alaihi wa sallam wa baraka ala abdihi wa rasulihi nabina wa imamina Muhammad.